Panharmonicon presents a podcast.
You know you were her favorite, right? Even when you were a little baby, she wouldn't let me feed you because she needed to feed you. Drove me crazy.
She wanted me to be a boy.
You know, I was a tomboy when I was growing up. I hated dresses and dolls and pink.
Who's gonna take care of me?
Excuse me, you don't think I'm gonna take...
Hereditary, super scary. Yeah, don't go to Derry. That's where that clown be. What clown? We talking about Pennywise. Is he wise? Yeah, but he's also got some big thighs.
Ooh.
I'm not talking about KFC chicken.
He's thick.
Can you imagine like a clown walking with like giant KFC chicken thighs for legs?
Wow.
Well, folks, that was weird. Welcome to yet another episode of Panharmonicon Studios presents
A podcast.
Yeah. I'm one of your hosts, Farron.
This is Andrew.
Yeah, this is Damon.
Last episode of Spooky Month.
Last one.
Last episode of Spooky Month. Getting spooky.
Spooky, scary skeletons are chilling up your spine. I still haven't gone to look into the rest of those lyrics, but
Dude, that's oh my gosh. So you mean to tell me that we gotta wait until next year when it's Spooky Month again, or do we?
Yep.
Tease them, Dame.
Yep, that's what you gotta wait for. Last, yeah, I guess I'll say it's the last week. It's the last week of the month, for sure. But in terms of trippy horror-ish stuff, technically you get one more week. But
What do you mean technically you get one more week?
you know what's coming next week.
Next movie. Also, I would consider it a horror.
Yeah, okay.
He forgot what we were doing here, folks.
Nah, yeah, I guess I'm picking up. Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down. That movie is.
There's a lot going on.
But that's next week.
Yes, that is next week.
And this week.
Yeah.
And this week, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys could, I know I'm asking this before you've even heard anything else about us, but give us a thumbs up if you liked what you've heard so far. There was a whole Hereditary rap with Chicken Thigh Man. I think if you like that, give it a thumbs up.
Chicken Thigh Clown Man.
Chicken Thigh Clown Robot Man.
Than Hereditary.
Well, he said Hereditary at the beginning
That's
of it.
true, and then Dairy.
Yeah, then he just went off on a rap tangent, a rap gent.
It was stream of consciousness.
Nice.
Yeah.
Stream of consciousness.
If I say dairy, then
If you like that stream of consciousness, give us a thumbs up.
dang, dairy also could have been milk.
That's what I thought you were gonna go into, like
That's
lactose intolerance.
I thought that was where you were going with that.
No, dairy is the actual location of where it takes place.
DERRY, Derry, Massachusetts.
My ass.
I'm not going to give you the option of giving a thumbs down to that rap. Only thumbs ups.
I appreciate you asking saying only thumbs up. I think
We gotta be supportive. Support the homies, man.
And,
I'm gonna push a lot of people to thumbs down.
give us a comment on what you would rap about.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How would you run Dairy?
Let us know how you would have continued
Or Hereditary.
that rap.
Also, give us a comment about what are you dressing up for as Halloween? Because this is going to be 4 days before Halloween.
Any couples costumes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
let us know.
What's the dish? What's the tea?
Spotify peeps, let us know.
Exactly.
What are you guys dressing up for as Halloween?
I will be a groomsman because unfortunately I will be traveling on Halloween, going to good old Colorado for a childhood friend's, one of my best friends' wedding.
Okay.
Like, is it on Halloween?
No, I guess it's the next day, but I just
That'd be crazy to have a Halloween, like a Halloween wedding on Halloween. That'd be crazy.
Hallow wedding.
No, it would be crazy.
Wedding ween. Don't do that one. But what about you guys? Any?
I don't think I got plans.
I don't.
to
I
dress
actually
up.
I don't. But it's. I mean, it is. We're throttling towards Halloween, and I don't know why I was going to say a Ninja Power Ranger. I think just because that's one of the costumes as a kid This really stands
Just
out
a
to me.
classic, dude.
Yeah.
I was a ninja. There,
I was
yeah.
the Ninja Power Ranger.
Oh,
My mom
nice.
made Ninja Power Ranger suits. I think my brother was the Blue Ranger and I was the Black Ranger.
That's
I
awesome.
was never a Power Ranger. And,
What?
like,
What?
Really?
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy that I was
Yeah.
never a Power Ranger? I was never a Power Ranger. I was a Ninja Turtle.
Nice.
Okay.
I was two of the Ninja Turtles.
Okay. Same
And-
costume, different bandanas? Or...
No different costumes.
Nice.
Because it was not like back-to-back years.
Oh, okay.
And then the year that Power Rangers came out, I was Batman.
Wow. That's awesome.
So
Well, that would also been the year that Batman Forever came out, though, right? 1985.
no, I'm talking about like Power Rangers came out, like the show.
The show.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was Batman, and then I think I actually stopped like dressing up for Halloween, like right after that, and just would go out.
After 93?
93, yeah.
So after 6, you were like, I'm too old for this.
I think I may have dressed up one more time as the Joker,
Ooh, okay.
and not by my choice. I think I was the Joker because that was like the last costume that we could find.
I thought someone like forcibly put you in a Joker
Like,
costume.
it's just
I was
like
damn,
Chico.
that seems like child abuse, maybe.
No. Yeah. So I think like either 8 or 9, I dressed up as a Joker, and that was the last time I ever dressed up.
Nice.
But I never dressed up as a Power Ranger, and you would think that was what I
Been a
would
staple,
have been
yeah.
a big Power Ranger dresser upper as a kid, because that was my life. I turned into a Power Ranger
Wow.
after
And then you didn't
1993. never dressed up as a Power Ranger.
Man. I feel like there's a missed opportunity here. Well, I was going to ask, like, how you guys are doing. But I feel like we just need to... Our focus needs to be building a time machine, going back in time, and making sure that you dress up as a
giving
Power
Little
Ranger for
Dame
response.
a Power Ranger from now, so that it's like cooler than everybody else's Power Ranger.
Yeah,
So-
like, well,
Like you
yeah.
know, you never seen this before.
Yeah.
This from Japan.
Let me ask
There
you,
we go. That's the way. That's how you sell it.
if the Joker costume wasn't the last, do you think if there was a Power Ranger costume available,
If there was a
would you
Power
have
Ranger
gone
costume, I'd have been
with
like, I'd have
that?
been a Power Ranger.
Okay.
It wouldn't. I could have been yellow, pink. It wouldn't have mattered as long as I was a
Okay.
Power Ranger. It's
Oh,
just
yeah,
that I
that's
think
Joker.
like during that period of time, the Power Ranger suits went out. Like they would get caught up so quickly that it was just like, here's stuff that people aren't being.
Yeah.
Before Pokemon, people were scalping Power Ranger costumes.
They
at
probably
Halloween.
were. I don't. If Power Rangers had a trading card, that thing would have been like people would have been knocking over like not trains, but like they've been knocking over trucks
Yeah.
to get like Power Ranger cards.
Insert any footage from like Black Friday deals, like the Tickle Me Elmo.
How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. I
Yeah.
think I'm doing pretty good. I haven't been up to much, but other than video gaming,
Okay.
but I've been pretty good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right, yeah.
How you guys been?
Been all right. I bought Stardew Valley for my phone, so that's been a little dangerous.
It's going to be very dangerous.
But it's interesting to play vanilla again, because pretty much ever since I found out how to mod Stardew Valley, just so much better. Like the quality of life is just insane. But going back, we're doing tried and true. We're doing the vanilla run just to see how it goes.
It's such a interesting it's a game that you lose time in.
Oh,
You don't even realize it until like you're like, what the hell? It's
yep.
been several hours since I started playing this game.
Yep. Yeah, work's been a little slow, so it's been nice to just to kind of flip the phone sideways and just like start farming.
Let me go to the bathroom.
And you've been in there for 3 hours. This is the only stall we have, you know.
I'm sick.
Get out of here, man. I'm farming my turnips.
I've been going through some very extreme moments of like sleep paralysis lately.
Oh.
Yeah,
Mr.
man.
Hatman come or just
I don't
no
know who that
demons yet?
is,
Oh.
but I don't want to meet him. I
Rip
know
some
that for
bennies,
sure.
dude. Some Benadryl and then have a
Who
good
said?
time.
That'd be insane if
second
there
time I've
was
heard that.
a like shared paralysis demon.
Yeah.
that just like
Benadryl
goes
is-
through people's.
Yeah, but the Benadryl thing. I was talking to somebody I work with, and I was like, every night this week, I have had
Wow.
a moment of sleep, except for
So
last night.
sorry.
It was like the only one I didn't have, where it's just like my mind is awake and I cannot move my body, dude. It feels like no matter how hard I try, which is always like a terrifying feeling.
Mm-hmm.
The weirdest one this week was a couple nights ago. It's always at this moment, like I start to feel like I'm falling asleep, and it's like the moment I cross over, something really strange will happen, and like something will wake me up, but my body can't move, my mind is awake. So I have a dog named Mimi, and I thought, so Mimi has her bed. Her bed is in front of my bed, and I thought that she was getting in bed with me. And I remember thinking to myself, because when she does it, it's so cute because it's like, you can just like see her trying so hard. Yeah. And she tries to like, is she going to wake up or not? And I remember in my mind thinking, oh, she's doing this cute thing. And I'm like, just come up and cuddle with me. And after it happened, I heard this loud bang. What sounded like somebody knocking on my door. And it was like, and I'm laying there like, somebody's at my front door. And it freaked me out because, dude, like, we had finished playing Borderlands that night, and we stopped at like 12:15. This was on a weekday.
Oh, wow.
So when this happened, I was like, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. Who in the heck? I don't know anybody that should be coming up to my door at 1 o'clock in the morning to get my attention. And so I'm like freaking out. I'm like, I can't move. I can't go downstairs. I can't see if somebody's walking in. But then after trying so hard, I fell back asleep. And then when I woke up, I realized that none of that had ever happened.
Whoa.
Like Mimi was in her bed. She was gone. Like I sleep, and I was like, I have no idea what actually just happened. But stuff like that, dude.
That's scary.
Yeah,
That's true horror.
Nothing like the feeling that you can't move.
Yeah.
But things are happening, and you're like trying to like get up to like interact, but you just can't.
Yeah. Because somebody walked into my room. Could you imagine? And you just can't.
Game over.
Yeah.
You're dead. You take whatever you want.
It reminds me of, I never saw this movie, but I saw a trailer for it in the premise. It's like a movie, I think, with Hayden Christensen and Jessica Alba. I think it's maybe called Awake or something like that, where basically he's going in for a operation, and they put him under, but like his mind is still awake. So he's aware of everything that's happening as they're operating on him, but he can't do anything about it. Because obviously his body is under the effects of the anesthetic, so yeah, scary shit.
Oof. Well, getting into other scary stuff.
Yeah,
Hereditary.
Scary Dairy.
Very scary dairy.
So Hereditary, I know for me is like one of my all-time favorite horror movies. And like when I saw this movie, I love Ari Aster's horror. I love Midsommar. And when I saw Hereditary, I was like, dude, I wish I saw this in theaters. So I'm so happy that you guys agreed to watch it. And I'm very curious about what you guys thought of it. Just like initial thoughts and kind of what was happening in your heart and soul as you were watching the movie. Because I know what was happening in mine. So we'll talk to my boys about it.
It's a good one. This is not the first time that I've seen it. I think there's one that this is definitely going to be a tangent, but there's one that's like sealed in my heart and brain. It is a very good movie, very scary. It is just it's definitely a thinker too, of just like how much of it was planned versus, kind of what just happened. But I saw this kind of an allude to the Grove from our last episode. There was a trout club that I went to a lot as a child. My grandfather was a member, so we would go and fish. And Moore and it was, I think, the second year that we were dating or something, I took her there because Grandpa had sold the cabin to one of his friends, so his friend was gracious enough to allow us to stay. But for some reason, Joe does not have blinds on any of the cabin windows. So it is, kind of out in the middle of nowhere in Michigan, over by like Mesick, so like over here. Love a physical bit on an audio podcast. But
you can figure it out, audience.
He held his hand up and pointed to his fingers.
But so dark. So dark. So it's just, we finished this, of course. I mean, spoilers for the ending. All these like people are just like at this house. So I'm just like, I'm going to look out the window and just see like naked white people just like standing there. And I'm like, I'm going to just pass away. So very scary. I enjoy this movie a lot. It is definitely up there for me in terms of horror movies. Dane?
Mm-hmm. So, before I let you know, I'm just going to say that it was released in June of 2018. Budget of $10 million. Movie had a global box office of $90 million.
Ooh, nice.
Almost split down the middle, 46 domestic, 44 international. In my notes, I said that it's pretty surprising that this movie did as well as it did, considering when it came out. So when Hereditary came out in theaters, Incredibles 2 had come out that month. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom had come out that month. Ocean's 8 came out that month, as well as Tagged. But that seems unimpressive until you also realize that movies stayed in theaters a little bit longer than they do now, and both Solo, Deadpool 2, and Avengers Infinity War were all still in theaters when this movie came out.
I was like, Tag, not so much, but Infinity War, that makes more sense.
Tag's the movie with Hannibal Buress, Jeremy Renner, the movie where like a friends that had this like lifelong game of tag. Is that the one you're referring to? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And just to kind of put like just how crazy it is, that 90 million, but like that it did. Avengers that same month did 63 million, and that was like it's like third or fourth month still in theaters. So
wow.
It's pretty crazy just how well this movie did. But I also think maybe it's just we as people just went to the movie theaters much more than we do now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which is why you kind of see
agoraphobia. Yeah.
The box office that you do. It had a 90% critics and a 71% audience.
Wow.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow. Poor taste.
We do typically find that ratio is pretty close typically in the movies that we've done.
Yeah.
This is the biggest discrepancy I've seen so far.
Yeah.
So,
you know what?
watching the movie.
I think I kind of why it might.
Sorry.
What, they said all the naked white people at the end of it?
No, it's. I know. Go ahead. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I was just gonna say that I kind of feel like the movie was a bit long, but ultimately it definitely did its job of like being a scary movie.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those movies that I think I'm not a big horror movie person. This is definitely more of your guys' realm than it is mine, and this month has been much more me like dipping my toes, not dipping my knees into the horror movie pool, going out further than I've gone before.
Wow.
And what I'm learning more and more in horror movies is that the more questions you seem to have at the end of one of these movies is indicative of how well the movie is.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that like explaining things is not a horror movie's job, and it's to constantly leave you wondering what is happening, because maybe that is also an element within itself within the horror. Is scary things are happening, but you also aren't quite sure why they're happening.
Right.
And spoiler alert as always, even though we
already spoiled the movie.
Well, you said like a bunch of like white people. I mean, that's not.
But
like,
the ending kind of left me just still wondering, like what?
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm having to learn to get over my like dissatisfaction with that question at the end of a horror movie. If you guys have been on the journey with me since we've been through these, you've probably heard me ask that question at the end of Weapons. You've heard me ask that question at the end of Barbarian. So it's me essentially trying to get over the fact that horror movies are not big on wrapping everything up with a bow at the end and saying, this is what happened.
Yeah, if you missed these details.
So if there are details that you missed or there are details that they intentionally omitted, they did that on a purpose. And it is to leave you wanting to be able to walk away from a movie theater with questions on why this happened, and maybe your thoughts are different than someone else's, which I find to be, I enjoy that part here with you guys because that we've been able to have more detailed and thought like movie discussions around horror movies that we haven't with the other movies because they're so like kind of surface level, telling you exactly what's happening. Were you going to? You'd asked me what I thought. I thought you were about to go into something after that.
I forget. It was something that was the reason why it might have had a 71% with an audience score. I'm trying not to be too long-winded here, but it's one of those things where if you guys have listened to past episodes, we've talked about movie trailers and the effects of movie trailers and our understanding of what we're going to see. This one's interesting because when I first saw the trailer for this film, I thought that from beginning to end is going to center around the daughter.
Yeah.
And I thought that she's going to be a really big part of it. And it's not to say that she wasn't, but I thought that she basically was going to be her story and her perspective along with her mom. But as we find out,
as a person who's never seen any of the trailers, I thought that
as well. Yeah.
So
yeah,
the movie definitely leads you to believe that.
Yes.
Up until it doesn't anymore.
Yeah.
And it makes you go, oh, so whose perspective am I supposed to be like seeing this through? And I think honestly, I'm still confused on that part because I feel like it loses a perspective after Charlie passes away, and at that point, it's just it almost is like you're seeing this from like a fourth person's perspective.
Yeah,
and it's just now you're just watching the events of the rest of the movie unfold.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of like part of what it's because there are things that were alluded to in the film that kind of go through to suggest why Charlie was such a big part of her grandma's life, and it kind of sounds so weird because Charlie was so young, like it was almost like she was grooming her that entire time.
Yeah.
But I think that from an audience perspective, and I'm gonna say like this is like a bad thing or anything like that. I'm not a parent. My brother has kids. I love those kids. Both my brother, like I have nephews and nieces and stuff like that, and I love them. But like me personally, I am not a parent, and it's not to say that should affect my ability to like understand or see this. But I think that when it comes to violence against children, and it's not to say that like somebody was like attacking her, but it's the situation that happened to Charlie. I think that people I think that pulls them out of it. I think that when people think of kids and the innocence of children, they're much more like willing to act or be taken out of like the experience if they see something like that. Because even with the last episode when we're talking about Late Night with the Devil, the audience score once again was significantly lower than what the critic score was. And then even in that film, I thought you said the critic score was 97 and then the audience was like an 80.
Oh, it was 97, 82.
82, yeah. So like 15% difference. And here, what is like 19% difference? And yet again, that is a movie where some seemingly innocent child was sort of the subject of, like, the film ends with, spoiler alert for that, if you haven't watched the episode, with, what happens between Jack and Lily. And so I think that when it comes to horror movies, it's one of those tropes you ever hear about with, like, they touch upon this in the movie Cabin in the Woods. The trope that you see a lot, especially play out movies like Halloween, Jason, Friday the 13th, that you have these characters and like people are much more willing, it seems, to like allow themselves to accept that a teen that goes against the grain of what they feel a teenager should be, when they die, it's like, oh, okay, but they deserve that because they had sex before they were married and shit like that. Like the way people's mind works, it seems like there's some of this like strange justification of certain things that almost in films like that, they forget that these are teenagers, and it's just because they're engaging in acts that they would see as adult-like acts. Like all of a sudden their innocence is lost, so they are willing to accept the violence against that person because it's like, oh, you're an adult now, violence against you is totally fine. Whereas like if it's still a kid and that innocence is there, it's like, oh, I feel like there's a greater chance that maybe a more general audience will not take to that happening.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's also the way that it happened. Dude, oh
Very
my
tragic.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I was not expecting that to happen at all. Yeah. Actually.
Yep.
Even as it was kind of like hinting toward it, I still was like, no.
Yeah.
Because my expectation, I could tell that she was going to die. My expectation was
at what point? I'm sorry. What point did you start to?
When when she started asphyxiating. Because when I realized that he knew he didn't have the EpiPen, and he just decided to go out and rush to take her somewhere, and he was out in like the desert. I was like, well, they definitely ain't getting to anywhere like close enough to her for her. So I thought it was just gonna be like Stand By Me. Stand By Me, and she's gonna like get Macaulay Culkin to death, and
Pretty Woman.
Not Pretty Woman.
That Pretty Woman. Little Woman, my girl.
My girl. My girl.
My gosh, that's
I was like, well, she's about to die because she ate some nuts inside this chocolate cake. And then, all right, well, audience, if you've not seen this, again, I will implore you to watch Hereditary and then listen to us. But if you have, and you also know what happened, and you're like, oh, Damon, don't, it has to be said. She is trying to breathe, so she reaches out the window with her entire upper body to try to get more air, and somehow her brother is not watching the road. He eventually watches it to see that there's a dead deer in the middle of the road, so he swerves and magnetically attaches his car to the only light pole or power pole we've seen in this entire stretch of desert, and lops her head off. And somehow only her head, even though like a good portion of her upper body was out the. Well, you would think her whole body would have just.
I think you just swerved just enough to make it to where like that is what. But when it hits, that thud, dude, it is like. And as I think from the audience, you're like, whoa, did that just happen? And it's so terrifying because Alex Wolff, when it happens, that actor, he's having that same experience.
Yeah.
And he's sitting, and at that moment was so jarring to me because it was so, I think he's a great actor. I wish I saw him in more stuff.
You weren't a Naked Brothers band fanatic?
Well, isn't that his older brother that was in Naked Brothers band?
They're both. He was like the younger. He was like the drummer.
Oh, dude! Oh my gosh! See, it pays the age difference. I had never watched the Naked. I knew about the Naked Brothers band, but I wasn't like watching Nickelodeon at that time. But when he's just like sitting there and he realizes what happened, it's like he can't even find the words to speak.
Yeah,
and just. Even though he's not even speaking, his facial expression says it all, dude. And him just driving back home.
Because what do you do? I was talking with Moore and I, like, even on this segment, it's just like, you just kill yourself. Like, how do you go home? Like, what do you do? Like,
he just goes home and lays down, left her body in there,
car,
and
dude.
faced no consequences.
That's the other thing. Should have gotten at least, like, manslaughter or something.
Like, something should... Like, even the parents just go... Well, life's got to go on. Accident. And I'm just like, he killed your daughter, his own sister. And instead of like dealing with it, he just came home and laid down.
Yeah, just drew like comatose.
I mean, I think it's kind of like.
I get not like being like, we got to take you to the police. But like it's an accident. Deal with it the way that you would deal with like a horrible accident occurring. Not just be like, well, I mean, you know, he's got to continue being a boy. It's like, no.
I mean, it's. I think you definitely see that it affects his I guess probably less between him and his dad, but like it essentially just completely destroys his relationship with his mom. Toni Collette, hearing her scream, like when she opens that door and finds that was hurt. That like. Sent shockwaves through my body because I can only imagine from a parent's perspective, from a mother's perspective, walking in and like your daughter's decapitated body is just sitting there. And I'm trying to remember, did they have a scene or shot where after she finds her body in the car, that very briefly they show her head on the road?
Yeah, like covered in ants.
Yeah, dude, stuff. That was just. I don't know. It is. I think to your point though, Dame, about like how to deal with the situation. It's like. It is. Like, how do you deal with that situation? Like, I
thought about it like right after that scene, and my belief is that I would not be here, not because I would have off myself. My mother would have killed me.
Oh,
she would not have meant to kill me, but she would have blacked out and killed me. If I were like somehow older than my much older siblings, and I caused this to happen, I'd be dead. She'd blacked out. She'd have choked me out or shot me or something. And I just wouldn't exist anymore. And then she would have came back to him like, oh God, I got a double grief now. Like, it's it's like, because the first off, I'm like, if I were in his shoes, I don't even know if I would have went home. I think I would have just kept driving.
Yeah.
You'd have just never seen me again because I wouldn't know how to deal with that situation.
Truly.
I do wonder like how long he was actually out driving. until he came back home. Like, because it felt like he was sitting at that point for a very long time, just kind of like thinking about what had happened immediately afterwards. And then I think like one of the next shots, you cut to him pulling up. And so I don't know if we know like fully like how much time it passed in between the actual act, the event, and him coming back home. But even still, it's like when you think about the situation, like, yes, it was an accident. Like, it's an accident, and the context of everything, because he's like, the worst thing he had done, I guess, in this, which is not even really like a bad thing, is that he had just smoked weed. Right. Like, the fact that they had forgot the EpiPen, like, is a plausible thing that could happen.
Yeah.
And him trying to rush to the hospital to get because it's not like he noticed that she ate it, and then he was like, well, just give me more time to talk to this girl and get, like, that would be a different situation. But he immediately left. He tried to get there as soon as possible, and then saw that in the middle of the road. And I guess, like, I don't know, people tell you that when you see a deer, just like drive through rather than try to swerve or whatever. I don't know how well that would have worked in this situation, since it was like a dead deer laying on the road. But like, I don't know, thinking to myself, I would have instinctively tried to swerve out of the way as well. And it's such like a crazy, just wild, random event. It's like, how do you treat that? Because it's not like he was, I mean, super inebriated, like drunk driving or something like that. I mean, yes, he was somewhat high, but yeah, it's such a complex accident and event, but just terrifying, dude. Like, when that moment happened, I was like, I did not expect this. I fully expected from everything I saw in the trailer that she was going to be in it from the beginning to the end. So for like it to be like 40 minutes in or something like that, and it happens.
I think not even. I think it's shorter than that. But
is it like
it might feel that way, but yeah, I think it's very quick for sure.
And oof.
Have we done a synopsis yet?
We've not.
So this is just a little Google overview of when the matriarch of the Graham family passes away, her daughter and grandchildren begin to unravel cryptic and increasingly terrifying secrets about their ancestry, trying to outrun the sinister fate they have inherited. Which isn't.
I read that synopsis, and that synopsis does not justify this movie.
It doesn't.
It
does not justify the movie or do it justice.
It does not. It's a hard question. The reason I say that's a hard question is so much of this movie is about how to deal with loss. And then you get to the ending. And I think that synopsis almost is just telling you what the ending is about.
Yeah.
But it doesn't give you like the 80% of the movie that is this movie, like how one deals with loss. How does one deal with like a family that doesn't communicate well, a family that is that family is a common family, and the things that they're going through are not common, but how one deals with it is essentially what we're seeing. And all three members of the remaining members of the family deal with it in incredibly different ways. And we get to see that. If you said that is the synopsis, I think people would be much more like, okay, I get, I'm with this movie.
But can't two things be true at once? Like the other ideas that coincide with it, like, yes, it's about loss, but also there are things or from the very beginning of the movie, the scene at the mother's funeral, like, there are people there that are, like, looking at Charlie very weird. Like, that dude has that very sort of awkward, like, dude, is this guy a pedophile? Like, the way he's staring at Charlie, almost as if he knew that this was, like, a vessel or someone that was supposed to have a bigger...
But I think if you never got to the ending, would that synopsis make sense?
Well, I don't know why you wouldn't get to the ending.
I mean, like, just say, like, if you've never seen the movie before, you read that synopsis, and then you watch the first 100 minutes of it, and you just don't get to the end yet, does that synopsis make sense?
Yeah. Well, see the synopsis again? I'm sorry.
So it's when the matriarch of the Graham family passes away, her daughter and grandchildren begin to unravel cryptic and increasingly terrifying secrets about their ancestry, trying to outrun the sinister fate they have inherited.
Yes. That would still, to me, it was still
I guess for me, it does not.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say. I guess I'm more on. Definitely more like I don't think it does, just because I think that it's not really their ancestry. It's more of just kind of like the actions that Ellen, I think is the grandma's name. Like all of her cultish behavior and everything she put into effect is, I guess, kind of then unraveling for the family, because it's her actions that then kind of lead to the way Charlie is. And then I think I'm still iffy on this part because I was trying to do some research just to have better points, but they do, when they're driving to the party, they do land on that light pole, and there is like a symbol on it, but I don't know if it's the same symbol that's like, with the cult. So I don't know if that part is necessarily like planned, but it is very much kind of staged in. Oh, I'm losing the thread. It's really all on the grandma. It's not a lot of like what Ellen or Charlie, is that his name?
Charlie's the daughter.
Charlie's the daughter.
Or Charlie's the, yeah, jeez. Peter, that's what it is, yeah. Or Steve, Rip Steve, the most normal human being in this whole movie. So yeah, I don't think it really encapsulates the whole movie. It does get part of it, but I don't think it's like a true synopsis. So
I mean, I think if we're leaning on the word ancestry, then like if that's like the core of what the disconnect is.
Yeah.
But I think even beyond that, like just there is a lot of, I guess the other piece of it is it's not that they are actively trying to unearth it. At least not every member of the family is not actively trying to earth it, but that it is sort of coming to a head for them without their needing to do anything. It was almost like this was like the inciting event that was going to start to unravel all of this stuff that their grandma had put into place in the first place. So it's not like an active like I'm being Inspector Gadget and trying to figure this stuff out. I think except for Toni Collette, but yeah. But hey, I mean,
it's just I had to be better prepared with a different synopsis, but
no, I don't think there would have been a difference. I think you would have had to write a synopsis in order for it to like be more succinct. Because I think they were just kind of going for like that's what you would write for like a movie like byline or something,
right?
Like
the
right?
hook,
like that thing that you would
clicking it on.
Like if you're gonna do like I'm about to write a movie review. That'd be like your like little quick synopsis. This is like now we're about to dive into the rest of it. The problem I guess I feel is that the way that that synopsis is written is it like you were kind of getting at is it makes it seem like everyone was actively, the synopsis makes it seem like everyone's actively trying to like figure out this like ancestry and run away from it and figure it out. But in reality, we realize some stuff happened at the beginning and then all of that wraps up at the end.
Yeah.
But the whole middle chunk of it is kind of just like, whoop, better watch it. Which maybe that's what you're supposed to do in a synopsis. I'm not a synopsis writer, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But it did kind of color my, like what I was expecting.
Really? Okay.
And I think that was why I did not enjoy that synopsis all that much.
Sure. That's fair. Like, like if you were expecting, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
But what I did end up getting, I really did enjoy that like whole, like everyone's having to deal with loss. Because initially it's the loss of the grandmother and how like even though this woman has passed, so many people seem the immediate family doesn't feel like they care, and you're like, well, that's weird. But like so many people show up at this wedding or this funeral, so much so that Toni Collette is like literally saying like so many people I've not seen before.
You know, it's kind of weird. You say wedding, but it almost kind of like the jubilance with which you would attend a wedding is almost kind of like the jubilance that her other people in that cult or whatever that following were sort of approaching her funeral as.
Yeah.
Like,
so I think it was like go time. Like, I understand like the structure of the ritual and all that.
Yeah.
It was kind of the inciting incident of.
Like, we're about to be ready to go. Give us a few months. Yeah, we about to turn it up.
We're getting some riches.
So it's like they don't care. This family is just like, this woman died.
Right.
Even though like the obituary is like she died in Amy's house. And you're like, I feel like I've read enough obituaries. I don't think they tell you where a person dies, but so like, that's obviously a point of the movie, is saying that like she was with the family when she died.
Yeah.
So you would think they would care more. And then when Annie's like, I feel like I should feel more sad, and then Steve's just like, and okay, you said Steve is normal. Okay, I've got notes.
Okay, yeah, let it
My
ride.
notes
Yeah.
are very interesting because I got back into like stopping the movie a lot to write my notes, and it's funny because these notes come in real time, and eventually like this is like deep into the movie when I finally like, Steve has kind of sucked throughout this movie because before the horror starts, he's just that dad that doesn't really involve himself in the family. And then kind of begins to remove himself from the element, like so many of the elements that are happening during like the actual horror elements of the movie. And it's like, this happened during the scene where they're at dinner and things finally like bubble over. And I love that scene so much because everyone finally says like what they are feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
But Steve is sitting here trying to repress it. He's that that dad trope of like, don't cause a scene. And like he's trying to tell them to shut up, and it's like, let them get this out because there needs to be some catharsis here. Like throughout this entire movie, there's been a tension amongst like so many of them, but not really Steve. But Steve's also been hiding things from especially Annie throughout the entire movie. So you like they get this bubble over scene. They're and then he's just sitting there like, you both need to just sit down and eat. And I was like, you kind of suck throughout this movie because like even when she said, should I feel sad? But like, hey, you feel what you feel. And it's like, that means you also didn't care about her mother all that much. And she says as much during the like that grief council that she was a part of. And I got questions about that grief council as well. But I said this, and then I wrote a little bit later, I say this, and then he fucking breaks down. Because he was crying in the car, and I'm like, I just said he sucks, and didn't show anything, and now he's finally showing like emotion and saying that this has also been getting to him. Yeah, and it's like, okay, I get you now, and then the rest of him happens.
It's so funny you say that because when watching Late Night with the Devil and taking my notes in real time, something similar happened where there was a scene that I wrote a note about, and it was a scene I think where they had hinted at something, and I remember writing down and asking myself, did Jack have something to do with his wife? And then literally within like 5 minutes, something else had happened. I was like, oh, it did. Like, and sometimes it just kind of happens. Like you're writing those notes, and it's almost kind of like the director knows what you might be thinking or feeling in that moment, and then so they like have this quick follow up to say, your feelings were justified.
That's my notes on Joan are just like that. I was like, God damn it, Joan.
Yeah. But I think for that scene, I think it definitely was necessary for them to, express how everyone was feeling. I think based on, I think it's after that scene, like he's emailing that psychiatrist, because I think it's maybe Annie has like a history of this in the past. So I think he's maybe like, let's try to have this be a little bit more like healthy. Where, I mean, catharsis is healthy, but like, let's not just like jump at each other. But I guess I'm just a Steve apologist, so that's just the hill I'm going to die.
I became one.
Yeah.
After.
You were
it's
converted.
just, he was annoying. Like, it was that, like, just, so much was happening.
Yes.
And as far as Steve is concerned, nothing was happening. And even if he let on that things were happening, nothing was happening. Yeah. It was like, Steve, come on. Yeah. You could be helping somewhat if you just acted like you were a bit more proactive and not just like, golf dad hanging out just doing nothing.
But that's the thing, though, is like those dads do exist.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I'm like, this family is so common.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and it's just like, well, damn, you're putting a mirror up to that type of family, and that gives you even like, because as someone who watches like true horror stuff, not true horror, true crime stuff, so often there is that like. The mother was so adamant about what was happening on the child, and then the dad didn't care. But then it ended up being because the dad did it. Yeah. Like, oh, no wonder he was so like
apathetic about it. Yeah.
But sometimes there's also just like an apathy to the point that you could have stopped things from happening, but they didn't. I don't think Steve ever gets there because honestly, so much happens behind the scenes in this movie that they could have been just living their normal life, and then the ending could have still happened. Like, like Annie didn't have to be getting driven to like being crazy, like because their plans didn't really hinge on that. It's like they were just doing that just to fuck with her. The actual things that happened, like the big things that happened were the only things that they needed to happen. Everything else was just like icing on the cake for them. Let's get naked. The grief council, the grief group, were they also the cult?
I didn't think so. I thought it was just Joan that.
Yeah, that's what I.
So
that's
just
what I was under the
Joan.
impression
Okay.
of as well. Although it would be pretty wild if they somehow found their way to like just seep into all of these all of these arenas that they just kind of knew that Annie would seek out.
Yeah.
In light of like loss of Charlie, loss of Ellie, that would be pretty wild.
Okay, because I thought like when the naked dude showed up at the end, I thought some of them looked like people that were in the grief group, but I didn't think to go back and check. I thought about it. I mean, it was like, was the grief kind of like a part of it? But because the smiling dude I recognized from the funeral,
dude,
he was the scariest part of like a lot of this.
Yeah.
Just a tall, like broad,
Germanic.
naked white man just standing in your like doorway. Blonde haired, blue eyed, smiling like a fucking titan.
It was so faint, dude. Like it was because you couldn't make out all of the details, but it was just enough. I think that's kind of what really I found so unsettling is that there were so many times where the use of darkness and you could see that outline. Just imagine that, and I think that's part of like I mentioned sleep paralysis earlier, and that's part of how sometimes it's like sleep paralysis. The things around you appear as like the normal setting that you would expect, but it almost kind of seems that sometimes like there is something out of place in the darkness and you can't really quite tell what it is, but that it's watching you, it's monitoring you, and it's just so unsettling. And in seeing that, could you imagine in your home, in your here?
Awful. No thanks.
Dude, that's immediate time out. I can't be here. Maybe Peter should have just done that. He should just be like, time out. No thanks. Not doing this.
But yeah, that is a good point. Like that could be something good to like go back and try to see, because I think in one of my Reddit deep dives, people were commenting that I don't know if it was Charlie's wake or the grandma's wake, but they were saying that like people were like around the house, like kind of setting up maybe the stuff for Payman to enter the house. Like, well, we already said spoiler alert, but like with grandma's dead body in the attic, like how that symbol was above. Like I think it was like maybe part of that whole thing.
Dude.
But yeah, but so many like little pieces of candy in this movie just to nibble up for information.
If it's candy, it's black licorice.
Disgusting.
Yeah, dude, definitely one of the worst candy. I don't know. People, not if you like black licorice, good on you. Me, definitely not the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh.
I think I'd take it over like candy corn.
Really
interesting.
Candy corn, Mary Jane's.
I don't really care for candy corn. I don't know if I would put, but I'm sorry, were Mary Jane's?
Oh,
Mary Jane's are like Halloween candy, like the peanut butter candy that's like wrapped in the like the orange and black. Like it'll be either an orange wrapper or like a black wrapper. It has no like marking on it, and it's just like the candy that gets given out at Halloween that you're like, well, there's Snickers and Tootsie Rolls here, but then there's just also this like nameless candy.
That sounds like it may have like a razor blade in the middle of it or something, dude. Like
you can buy it, at stores. It'll just be a bunch of orange and black,
generic.
You know, in thinking about like I think what's also interesting about this movie is like sometimes the extent to which the actors are taking their roles. Because something I'd heard about is that I said Alex Wolff. Is it Nick Wolff? Which Wolf is it?
I think it's Alex. Yeah,
is it Alex Wolff?
Yeah, I think you got it.
Broke his nose in the scene where
he
like legitimately where he slams his head into the table. Is that he actually legitimately broke his nose?
Wow!
In that scene, during doing that scene,
I want to say good on him, but I feel
because that scene, which is another one of those scenes that really just. Because again, when I watch a lot of these movies, and I understand completely that they're fictional, but I can't help but think, dude, if that happened, like if I was in class and some a kid had a freak out like that, oh my god, I'd be
asking around because like his buddy was like, yo, Peter, what are you doing, dude? It's just like, that's not the right response for this.
They didn't have his I don't even want to call them friends. The teenagers around him
Yeah, his smoking buddies.
sucked.
Yeah, true.
I mean, they were obviously just teenagers.
Right.
But, like, I think back to the scene where, like, they were in their little smoke circle, and he was just kind of, like, zoning out, thinking about stuff. Like, he hit it once.
Yeah.
And then they just started trading amongst, they were just like, let's pass it amongst ourselves. Don't even worry about Peter anymore. Like, he started it. He probably provided the weed. Why are y'all, like, kicking him out of this? And then when he was freaking out in the classroom, everybody's, whoa, man. Whoa, what, you okay, man?
Yeah.
I'm like, do you see him? Do you
not
see
okay.
him right now?
His arm should not be
Even the
doing that.
teacher's like, ooh. And I'm like, you're an adult. Do something right now.
I don't know, but also in those moments, it's like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes it's maybe easy to say, like, do something, or you should have done this, which, like, from the outside looking in and in hindsight, is probably easy to do, but in that moment, sometimes it's like, how do you react? Like, sometimes I think people maybe just kind of get scared, like, deer in headlights sort of situation.
You are a teacher.
Yeah, but like, how many times do you see a kid just like grab the back of his head and go, and he himself not even realizing that he's doing it, because it's not like he's doing it and be like, oh, look at me, like he does it and then snaps out of it.
Like the part where he snaps out and he's screaming, I get. But like the first part, so like when I was in 4th grade, one of my a classmate of mine had a seizure. Like we were all just chilling, and then she suddenly had a seizure and just went right on the table, like a few times. But my teacher immediately recognized what was happening and like went and grabbed her and laid her down. This teacher just was like, "Oh, I'm not I'm not touching this." I'm surprised he didn't run out.
I'm glad you did not have that teacher when you were back then. There was like, I don't know. Sometimes it's the actor's look that they portray, because like one of his friends in class, the way that he looked at him, it was just, I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't that it was just like nothing or he was vacuous. It was just he himself looked incredibly terrified as well. And sometimes when I see that, it like makes me more terrified that this person feels terrified.
Yeah.
Because I will sort of be drawn out of something if I feel like the emotion exhibited is incongruent with what I might expect sometimes. Not necessarily the action. Sometimes I can like try to justify the action, but like again, Late Night with the Devil, for instance, there were certain moments with the wife in which the way she was coughing and acting, I was like, I don't really believe you're all that sick. But like,
Well, the problem is all they did was just like put a bald cap on her, and, like a little
Well,
bit
they
of
gave her
makeup.
an oxygen tank.
Like,
and then told her to have like
yeah.
a more raspy voice. Oh, he's my Dave, he's my Jack. Like
if she had decided to like lose 50 pounds or something like that for the role and like look gaunt, you'd been like, oh,
Yes.
okay, I get it.
I was that was the exact word I was about to use. Yeah.
Like, but instead they were just like, I mean, we only doing this on a little bit of budget and for a little bit here in Australia. Just put this bald cap on. Give us some coughs.
There was another shot in this movie which was so weird, and even though I can't explain away what it was supposed to mean or represent, it still is kind of like a very haunting shot to me. And I wanted to get know what you guys thought about it. So towards the end of the movie, this would be after Peter had his moment at school, and he goes back home, and Annie's not around. Seemingly, Steve's not around, at least at that moment. And I think he might have fallen asleep, but he wakes up and it's nighttime, and he's sitting on the edge of his bed. And in the background, you see what looks like Annie and like
Crawling on
yes,
the
but
yes.
in mid-air. It's almost like she's. How did that make you feel?
Terrified. Just because then you get the other, because it pans directly facing him, and then she's up in the corner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, oof. That's some classic horror right there.
I think I'm getting desensitized. Because I just kind of was like, oh. And then when she was in the corner, I was like, why are you in the corner? Why? It was like, at that point, it was like, it felt like it was like, this shot needs to like shock you.
Yeah.
But I guess because it didn't shock me, I was like, why are you in the corner? You could just as easily be just standing behind him and get the same exact effect. But it was
It seems like
she needed to be
the way that
Spider-Man
you're
for a second.
reacting, it kind of makes me feel like even if she was just standing behind him, you would just be like, why are you standing behind him?
No, if she would have just standing behind him, I would have been like, because I think I would have thought she would have jolted into action quicker. Because being up on the ceiling, that means she would have had to get down from the ceiling. the way that, I mean, she ended up having to get down from the ceiling anyway. And what happens after that does actually make me jump, because right after we see her up in the ceiling, they pan down to old happy naked man. And I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? And I thought he was about to start running. Because immediately, honest to goodness, they remind me like of the Aberrant Titans.
Yeah,
I was like, he's about to start running and start biting this man. All right, but then like it does that like jolt, and then suddenly she's in the corner and just like starts running after him. And I was like, whoa. Because I was like, I wasn't expecting her to be the one that just started like running after him. And I kind of am now thinking to myself, like, which one would have been the truly scarier thing? Because I think if that dude had started just running,
that would have been bad. Yeah, I think that just, yeah.
Been like, oh, no.
Much
I'd have probably had to stop for a second and be like, okay, you need to calm down. But she started running after him, and I was like, I jumped, but I was like, okay. Because I think at that point, I was still up in the air on what was happening with Annie.
Sure, yeah.
Because I wasn't sure, like, and I think because she was up there, that made me go, oh, she must be possessed. But I think, and maybe this is probably just, maybe I missed something, or maybe I wasn't understanding. And maybe this is a big part of why I treated the synopsis the way I did, and how the ending goes for me. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize we were getting into demon possession.
Oh, okay.
Because I think the indication of that is when she's going through her mother's stuff, and it's all that stuff about payment. Because that's kind of like the description of all the stuff that's kind of about to happen.
Because, and I guess I also wasn't sure if we were ever dealing with Charlie, or if this was something just like constantly or impersonating Charlie. But then we get the ending, which makes me think that Charlie was around. And so when she was up in the ceiling, I was just like, I think maybe my why was still like, what are you doing up there? Like, why are you up there? Like, because I think I still wasn't 100% sure if like it was Annie or if it was something else Annie.
Like if he was like dreaming or something. Yeah.
So I'm like, what are you doing up there? And then the rest of that, the ending unfolds. And I'm like, okay. I honestly do think if I were in a movie theater in 2018, it would have gotten me. But I think just like watching it on my computer monitor, it just didn't hit as hard.
Sure.
But that's not to say that if that happened in real life, I wouldn't just faint and die on the spot.
Were you multitasking when you were watching the film?
No.
Okay.
I was watching it just mostly because I had started at multitasking at the very beginning of the movie, but then I realized that far too often things were happening that made me have to stop and like rewind back.
Gotcha.
And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna watch
through.
Because you clearly are hiding things that make me have to go like, what the hell was that?
Yeah. I think something that was very interesting is like with like to your point about sort of like the difference in like the effect of, hey, the naked man standing in the doorway in the dark versus Annie sort of being up on the ceiling. It almost kind of felt like they were like playing with their food, because to me, I kind of realized, because I think I misspoke. I think at that point Steve may have already been dead.
Yeah. He was dead. He was standing over Steve.
Because his body had burned, right? Like she threw the book in the fire, and then he caught on fire. And I think that when Annie's watching him, and then she like has that moment, she snaps, and then she kind of gets possessed. It felt, at that moment, I honestly truly felt hopeless for Peter. Yeah. Like I was like, there's no way he's getting out of this. Like he's alone in his house. He has really no one, and the house itself was seemingly isolated.
Yeah.
It's not like
you see the neighbor's house or anything. Yeah. It's just kind of
surrounded by trees.
Surrounded by trees, dude. And there's no one who knows what's going on. There's no. It seems like anybody who you would have thought to yourself might help was actually somebody that was part of the cult.
Right.
So there was no support. So when you're just like watching her, it's like, again, it feels like they're just like playing with their food, and that they're just kind of waiting until this really hits the fan, and then it does. And so there's always these like shots towards the end of the film that are just also very creepy, like seeing Annie's headless body just float into the treehouse type shit. But yeah, dude, it was all for payment. What does that remind me? Oh, Rosemary's Baby. Like towards the end of Rosemary Baby, where like all of the people are in the apartment and they're like Hail Satan, but there's that one dude who's like waits to the very like everyone's chanting Hail Satan, but then like 5 seconds goes and then this guy goes Hail Satan, like he's just
you get that as like Hail Satan. Hail Satan! Like, wait, what?
Like, we stopped. What are you doing? It's over.
Oh, I forgot to do my line.
It's oh shit. I'm part of this too, right, guys?
Leave it in. We don't need to.
Final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Which means we need to figure out how many Panharmonicons.
Oh, true.
Does it get? Spit. I will say, just going verse here, for me, I will give it 4.5 Panharmonicons.
Not a 5.
No, it's not a. It's not a 5. But I will give it 4.5. It is. It's still like, I absolutely adore this film, and I'll leave it at that. What about you?
Yeah, I give it a 4. It's very good. Definitely on a. It's nice to do a rewatch just to like truly like after doing the deep dive of like, well, Damon, you're saying like I had so many questions. I was like, how did we get here? So like after trying to do that deep dive to be like, oh, okay, this is how they're setting everything up, and then doing the rewatch, I picked up on a lot more. So I was like, oh, nice. I see what they were going for. So yeah, 4 for me.
So, I guess I am going to be the center here.
That's okay.
It's 3 Panharmonicons out of 5 for me.
That's in the middle. That's okay.
I really enjoyed 85% of this movie. Having listened to you guys and thinking back on things that I did remember seeing that I just wasn't thinking about when I first saw it, there are a number of signs that tell you that what you get at the ending is what you're going to get. But I was so enraptured with the tension that everything was happening before that mostly was actually just Annie herself. I think Tony does an amazing job of just making you really go like, this is a woman who could be crazy and may not know that she's crazy. But also it's a family. Like, I almost was able to get away from the concept of what the synopsis talked about in terms of like, away from outer demons and inner demons. Like, it felt like we were seeing a woman who felt so wronged and like kind of messed up by her mother begin to slowly turn into her mother.
Yeah.
And how she, like, that's why I thought that was what was going to end up, like, she was going to impart all that onto Charlie. But then Charlie dies, and now you're like, there's a new set of grief on top of that previous grief and her previous trauma. And now she's kind of pushing that onto both herself and onto Peter. And all of that was amazing. And then you get an ending that kind of pushes that all the way to say, it's not craziness, it was just demon.
Yeah.
And not only is it a demon, but it's king of one of the realms of hell, and he needs to be in a male host, and Charlie, I guess Peter just couldn't be it. Charlie is the reincarnation of it, so we need to kill you off and put you in Peter's body. And I guess Peter's body is like the perfect male host for it, but you are the host, Charlie. And when that made me immediately remember when she said earlier, because Charlie doesn't talk a whole bunch in the movie, even like for the amount of time that she's in it. But one of the things that she says very clearly is that her grandmother wanted her to be a boy.
Yep.
And so you're like, oh, okay, that part makes sense now. But before all that, like the concept of seeing this movie through Charlie, someone who may be autistic, may just have an outside view of things, who could ever tell, who just is watching all of like life unfold, but then her life is taken away, and we get Peter, who unfortunately kind of just starts to break down after that. So we don't really see, we know he's grieving, but we don't really get to see how he deals with the grief until that moment where him and Annie eventually just get at it.
Yeah.
And we've also learned by this point the whole like she's a somnambulance, and she apparently poured, but also don't know Now at this point, if she actually ever was a sleepwalker, or if that was just her being possessed from time to time and trying to kill Peter by lighting him on fire, and like all of these things, like I felt that the ending didn't just like it let the rest of the movie down for me. Yeah. But all the other scenes, like don't get me wrong, the rest of the other scenes really gripped me. I even being able to weave things in, like I was saying with my notes on like Joan, like I went from Joan being like, I thought Joan met a medium. How does she know how to do it? And then like she shows the instructions, like, oh, I guess she was told how to do it. And then then she like starts to discover that Joan was in these like pictures with her mother. And I'm like, oh, Joan was a fucking part of it the whole time. Goddamn Joan. And then, like, but then like it's just, I guess for me, like if it had somehow, maybe if it was that Annie was crazy and that Annie just snapped eventually, I think maybe I would have been like, okay, this is it. And then you realize that Joan had been pushing her ever so slightly to that edge. Mm-hmm. I guess I just wasn't feeling the demon part of it as much. And maybe if the demon had like been more present throughout the movie, like obviously it's there, the thing with like the lights, like because Charlie saw the light before she died. She saw like all those like, and it kind of reminded me of Weapons when she was like out in the yard and she saw that like lady sitting in the fire. Mm-hmm. And I think I actually ended up having the same problem with Weapons, where like when it gives you the explanation on what the big bad or the mysticism is, that you're like, I think I would have rather you kept it ambiguous. And I think I have that same problem here with Late Night with the Devil. It made sense because that like the devil is present throughout the movie. It's not like Abraxas suddenly shows up at the very tail end of it and you're like, oh shit, there's a devil in this movie called Late Night with the Devil. Mm-hmm. So I guess like I enjoyed it. I just didn't it didn't hit for me, I guess, the way it hit for you guys. But I still enjoyed it, and I definitely would watch it. Definitely would watch it again, just to get even more context on things that I think I may have missed, even though I was trying my hardest to every single scene that was happening in this movie. I just didn't want to constantly like stop it so much because it is a over 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
And as such, you just like you eventually have to be like, I can't keep stopping and starting. This will be a 5-hour affair if I keep doing all that.
Yeah.
But that was mine. We should eventually like aggregate to see like how many, I guess, what the average
is.
Yeah, we can do that.
But if let us know what you guys thought about Hereditary.
Yeah. How many Panharmonicons would you give it?
Would you summon payment by beheading your grandma and your mom and maybe your little sister, I guess?
There's a lot of
yeah, my bad.
There's a lot of beheading. Oddly enough, only the women were beheaded.
Yeah, because it's like in the, I mean, just to keep extending this, in like the little book that Annie finds, it's like 3 generations. Like it has to have like heads of 3 generations. So like on his like, because we stopped it because Maura was like, look at like the weird feet on this little mule thing, or I guess the cow, but it truly looked like some human ass feet, but they were not hooves. There's like 3 heads on his belt. And so like that's part of like there's a lot going on.
That was why her head was there at the end.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's
yeah, dude. Yikes. I remember something that like my professors used to always say is like a lot of the movies, which can be hard to do because we're full-grown adults with like robust and busy lives. But like when you're watching movies, it helps to watch them multiple times. But like the thing is it's where do you find the time? Especially when, like, to your point, it is an over 2-hour movie, and especially like depending on how much time we have in between our sessions, it's like, could you have time to watch each one of these movies twice, 3 times to like see everything? But yeah, it definitely, when you like watching things multiple times, it like can help to flesh things out, but also again, just where do you find the times? And sometimes watching it multiple times does not help at all
because they just simply don't give you the info.
Yeah, and sometimes the movie's just not No matter how many times you watch it, it wasn't gonna smack.
And I definitely think this movie does give you the information needed. I don't think it really pulls it out of thin air.
Yeah.
It's just, I think for me, it just engrossed me in the family affair so tightly.
Sure.
That I just kind of like blocked the rest of it out.
One child grows up to be the song Family Affair, Sly and the Family Stone.
Sly and the Family Stone.
It's a family affair.
They should have played that song at the end of the movie. Well, folks.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Let us know. Let us know in the comments what you thought about this movie. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Give us a thumb down if you didn't, or if you thought I was being crazy there.
Not at all.
Spotify peeps, if you can give us a rating, drop comments as well, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Hit that notification bell if you're already subscribed. Let you know what we got going down. Because, we might we might post something in there and be like, hey, man, we might be a little late on the podcast, or hey, man, what you think about this? Maybe drop a poll in there or something. We need to start dropping polls.
Yeah,
we need to start doing that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Start voting.
Yeah. And above all, thank you all for hanging with the three of us for another session of our movie book club, also known as Panharmonicon Studios Presents.
Ow. A podcast.
I'm not adding that to the logo, but thank you. This has been Damon.
This is Andrew.
This has been Farron.
And thank you guys for listening.
Hope to catch you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
You're not adding what to the...
Ow!